Language is at the heart of human connection. It really is at the essence of culture, and it generates such a deep sense of empathy when we learn it in a cultural context.
I love language because it's all humanities. It's words, it's putting patterns together. Language acquisition works for both the sort of right-brained and the left-brained people. You can be a more humanities-based thinker and connect to that part of language learning. Or you can be a more STEM-based thinker and you can connect to that part because language is an algorithm. It's learning the puzzle pieces, it's putting the formulas together, but it's also engaging in conversation, in literature, in history, and in culture. And so I think that's what makes language learning so important in this world, is we get to use kind of both pieces of our brain at the same time.
Our job as teachers in any subject is making connections with these students who are coming from all these different backgrounds. And I think something that's really important for me as a language teacher is when I go into a classroom to sort of read the room, make connections with these kids so that they can feel comfortable enough to come to me.
I believe honor code is in every subject, everywhere. And when we learn the language, it's related to what we mentioned. It's more about their integrity and also about their understanding of others. At Pingry, we have kids from about 100 countries. So it's very important for students to understand others who from different family backgrounds.
I think learning languages definitely help us improve our memory skills, our cognitive skills, and creative skills because students are challenged in a lot of ways, so they have to think outside of the box and to actually understand how the language is built.
Pingry as an institution really values the study of world languages. They put it as a priority. We have a robust commitment. Every upper school student needs to take at least 3 years of the same language in the upper school. Most of our students, more than half, take language for all 4 years in the upper school. And that's regardless of what level they place in as a 9th grader. If they place in as a 9th grader, they will reach post-AP level before they graduate. So it's a really significant commitment to world languages and their importance in the overall curriculum of the liberal arts education.
I would say that what sets the French program at Pingry apart is the quality of instruction and also the great opportunities that are offered to the students. For example, they can travel to France. We have a partner school in Lyon, and this year students are going to travel to Lyon and build connections with French students. They're going to be able to visit Paris and other cities in France, which I think is an amazing opportunity.
I was actually not the best Latin student in my Latin class, but I loved it. Latin was this window into a totally different world that was, at the same time, so different than the world we live in right now, and yet so similar. I was just hooked from minute one, and it just kept me so interested. I wanted to know more. I wanted to read the literature. I wanted to understand the history. I wanted to put the pieces together in the puzzle that explained how this culture from 2,000 years ago still affects everything we do in the modern world. Latin is incredibly formulaic. It makes rules and then it follows it, which is something English doesn't do. And so all of a sudden, when I learned Latin, I had this understanding of how English grammar works. It gives you a bigger vocabulary, it makes you a better writer, it makes you a better communicator. Latin is what taught me how to write, it taught me how to think, and it taught me how to express myself.
I hope you come to my class with a big smile and relaxed. So I know students, they have lots of things going on, but I hope they can have a really comfortable environment because learning another language means you're kind of making mistakes all the time. In my classes, I hope they feel oh, it's totally fine, I make mistake. As long as I learn from it, then I'm better of myself. And teachers collaborate closely to make sure learning Chinese is practical, fun, and effective. The Chinese language program at Pingry is a well-structured curriculum, and the curriculum is designed for students to use the language that's relevant to them. So we give them lots of opportunities for the practical application in real life.
I love the sound of Spanish. That's part of why I studied Spanish. I think it's beautiful. And I think also a positive that I see specifically here at Pingry is, knowing grammar in Spanish really helps your English. I think something that's special about the Spanish program is sort of the size of it. In a classroom, you will have kids in 11th grade, 10th grade, 9th grade, sometimes even in 12th grade in the same classroom. And it's really fun to see these kids kind of come together. And then as you get up into the highest levels, you are then going to be working with many of our native speakers in the department. Dr. McCarty, who's Venezuelan, Senor Vasquez, who's from Galicia. And then there you can really dive into sort of the intellectual piece and the literature and the history.
We teach world languages for so many reasons, and I think we can really distill them down to two kind of lofty reasons and two very pragmatic reasons. And I'd say the two more pragmatic reasons, first is the cognitive development and the building of resilience that happens through language acquisition. Language proficiency can always be a factor when you're looking for a job. It can be the factor that puts you over the edge above other candidates. And then finally, and I think the loftier reasons are so that we can have real, meaningful human interactions between people of different cultures, right? And so it's an undervalued skill, and I think that Pingry really values that skill.